For the last 32 years, I have been using a book to journey through Holy Week. I first used it when I was out in Cyprus on my final exercise as a cadet at the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. And we were dug in to an olive grove looking out on the Mediterranean Sea, being tested on all our infantry skills. And in the quiet moments, I was able to open this book and follow Jesus from Palm Sunday to his resurrection over a period of 8 days. And I wanted to share these beautiful words with you. Each of the broadcasts is a standalone one. And so today, in introducing the book, The Last 8 Days, a collection of gospel readings and commentaries arranged for daily meditation during Holy Week, compiled by Donald Coggan and Paul Rooke. Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, shouldst die for me? The introduction says this collection of readings has been compiled for the use of those who are not able to attend a service every day during Holy Week. And that now is all of us. As the sequence of events recorded varies from gospel to gospel, I have for the most part followed the chronology suggested by William Barclay in Crucified and Crowned, using the New English Bible translation arranged in narrative form. They were 8 eventful days. On the first Sunday after his triumphal journey into Jerusalem, Jesus entered the temple, looked around in dismay at what he saw, and as it was late in the day, went back to Bethany. On the next day he returned and openly demonstrated his disapproval of the house of God, having become a den of thieves. It was on this day that the chief priests and the teachers of the law finally began to look for some way to kill him. Tuesday was a day of teaching and questions and answers, during which our Lord gave the definitive answer to the question, which is the greatest commandment? On the Wednesday took place what William Barclay has described as one of the loveliest things which happened to him in all the days of his flesh, an event which Jesus assured those present would be told in memory of her wherever the gospel is preached all over the world. And here it will be remembered from St. Cuthbert's in this year 2020. We don't need to be reminded of what happened during the next 2 days. Of the Saturday, little is recorded. We can only imagine the despair of the disciples and await the dawning of the following day, when it became manifest that, as he had promised he would, Jesus had risen from the dead. As we reflect on this, let us say with Thomas, my Lord and my God. Holy Saturday. The women who had accompanied him from Galilee took note of the tomb and observed how his body was laid. Then they went home and prepared spices and perfumes, and on the Sabbath they rested in obedience to the commandment. Next day, the morning after that Friday, the chief priests and the Pharisees came in a body to Pilate. Your Excellency, they said, we recall that how that impostor said that while he was still alive, I am to rise after 3 days. So will you give orders now for the grave to be made secure until the 3rd day? Otherwise his disciples may come, steal the body, and then tell the people that he has risen from the dead, and the final deception will be worse than the first. You may have your guard, said Pilate. Go and make it secure as best you can. So they went and made the grave secure. They sealed the stone and left the guard in charge. Matthew's story, which we've just heard, is in vivid contrast to the verses from Luke, which introduced the readings on Holy Saturday. Matthew depicts men in frantic anxiety, seeking by poor human means to lock up God's almighty resurrection power and eliciting from Pilate permission to make the grave secure. Luke, rather, depicts the faithful women, perplexed and distressed, no doubt, but following, taking note, observing, and preparing their last act of fragrant devotion. That done, they rested in obedience to the commandment. Next morning would be the time for action, and though they could not see it for the depth of their grief, the time for revelation and exaltation. We Christian believers today are far more fortunate than were the women of whom Luke writes. We look back to the glorious fact of the resurrection of the Lord, but we also wait and look for the resurrection of the dead and the life of the world to come. Look for our resurrection based on his, who is the first fruits of them that believe. So now wait and look in quiet confidence.